always find us on social media, facebook.com/The Ghost Show with Mike Russell, and on Instagram at The Ghost Show with Mike Russell. Go outdoors with Mike Russell on the YouTubes. Yeah, and this hour of the program brought to you by Canyon Coolers. Go to canyoncoolers.com. Anything you buy. How about this? Use the promo code GOSHOW. 15% off. That's right. We're talking roto-molded coolers. Roto-molded. There we go. Coolers. Holy mackerel. Hold on. I get some coffee. There we go. Roto-molded coolers. Look, these things aren't cheap. You know, the Yetis and all those. These aren't cheap. But how about local right here? Local company, Arizona, the best in the business. Been tested in every magazine in the world against all of those others. Right there with them, if not beating them. Canyon Coolers, best in the business. Get over there and 15% off promo code GOSHOW. All right, so kayak fishing. It sounded to me like the most brilliant concept in the world because I understand the word boat stands for break out another 1,000. So having a boat is expensive. It's time-consuming. It's fun, but if you buy a fishing boat to fish, you better fish a lot. And I'm just talking about how your spouse is going to feel when you say, I spent $50,000 on a boat and we used it once this year. Yeah, you don't get caught up into that trap. So that's why I thought kayak fishing was brilliant. I was like, for somewhere between a few $100 and a few $1,000, I can have something I can fish from, be closer to the water, be quiet, and requires almost zero maintenance and zero upkeep and zero registration and the like, and zero expense after its first upkeep. And this, obviously the accessories and the stuff that you want to use while you're on the kayak. So let's talk about it. There are several different kayaks. First, the sit-in kayak. These are the things that you see maybe people are rafting with, or they're on the river with, and they do the whole roll thing and all that. That's a sit-in kayak. And I got to tell you, I don't see a lot of those out in the fishing world. There's some purists that go for it, and they like it, and they think it's cool. It's not for me. And I'll tell you why. Because Hobie, back in the day, Hobie used the Hobie Cat Company, the sailboats. They decided to make a fishing kayak from the ground up. And don't roll your eyes. I mean, there's some people that see the Hobies, and they're like, oh, Hobies. Yeah, they're not cheap. As a matter of fact, I saved up for 3 years to get my two of them. I saved because I wasn't going to just go plunk down that kind of money on it. And if you want to see these, get over to Lower Gear Outfitters or Lower Gear Outdoors. I don't know. Dallas keeps changing his name. Lower Gear Outdoors in Tempe, and you can check these things out. They're absolutely fantastic. But they decided we're going to build a fishing kayak from the ground up, and this is the sit on top kayaks. So you have the sit in, sit on top kayaks. So this is kind of the evolution of these, and you can get those suckers from, I would say, $500 kind of geared up to $3,500. So I think the latest Hobie is probably $4K for the big bad boys. So if you do some savings, it's a lot less than a speedboat, right? And you're out there and you're just rocking and rolling. And so sit on top is those are the fishing kinds of kayaks. So there's two types of kayaks in that world. There is the paddle kayak, which is very, very traditional, right? You got your paddle, you one side, the other side, one side, other side. Remember, it's not an ice cream scoop. Flip that paddle around. There you go. Keep going and going and going. Yeah. Cast a little bit, then keep going and going and going a little more. Or there's the pedal kayaks, which the Hobies has the Mirage Drive, and there's a few others that have that have pedal drives, like more like a bicycle instead of a push back and forth kind of motion. And those are fantastic because they have reverse. Well, actually, the new Hobies have reverse too. So there's a lot of cool advancements going on. Let me tell you something. There are a lot of cool advancements where you can actually be hands-free kayak fishing. For the most part, you do still have to steer, but you're just basically powering it with your legs. And it sounds exhausting. I will be honest with you. It does really sound exhausting, this kayak fishing. So it's not. It really isn't. I mean, these things glide effortlessly through the water. It is really, really cool. Unless you're on Lake Pleasant, you're going into a headwind. Oh, God love you. Is there ever not a headwind at Lake Pleasant? I think everything at Lake Pleasant is a headwind. Wind comes from all directions at all time, 360. But you get through the whole day and you're like, my legs don't even hurt. Next morning, you're like, my legs aren't even sore. I fish out in the Pacific Ocean with my Hobies. and we are putting in miles and miles. No big deal. It is. It really is. It's really cool. So those are different types of kayaks that you can have, and it all just goes to what your comfort level is in spending and how much you think you're going to use these kayaks for fishing. Because once you catch a fish on a kayak, I'm telling you, it'd be hard pressed to go back and just stand on a deck of a boat. It's so much more intense because you're there. You're right there on the water. It's almost a mano kind of vibe, and I love it. I think it's fantastic. So I would encourage you to start looking online for used. Yeah. Unless you want to start, maybe you go to Bass Pro, Sportsman's, or something like that. Get a basic kayak. Heck, you can get them at Costco in the summertime. Get a basic kayak and then start to kind of build up from there. Like, okay, this season I used it 5, 6, a dozen times, and now I want to upgrade for next year and kind of work your way up that way. Totally cool. But here's the deal: you got to get rid of that kayak. You're not just going to leave it out for bulk trash. You're going to put it online and sell it, right? Yeah, you know where I'm going. Now you go online and you're like, I could find used. I can find used all day. As a matter of fact, I thought about selling the yellow Tubmarines. Those are my kayaks. I thought about selling those suckers and upgrading to a new one because it depends on how many times I get Captain Nuge, my son, how many times I have him on the water this summer. And if he's not going to be on the water more than 2-3 times, then I'm going to sell both of those and buy a new Pro Angler. Because it'll save a lot of room in my garage, one. Two, I want the new stuff. I like the new Mirage Drive with this. But if you want to work your way up to that, do it. I didn't. I just saved. I borrowed buddies' kayaks. I went out and said, hey, can I borrow? I actually rented some from Dallas over at Lower Gear as well. And said, I just want to make sure I like doing this first. And then I liked it so much, I just started saving immediately. And as I was saving, I was like, okay, this is easy. This is just, this is 10, 15, 20, $50 a paycheck. I'm like, okay, we're building up here. And it worked out. And so I love these things. Now, I'll be honest with you. It's been a bit since I've been on the water with these. Like I have my Tempe Town Lake, fantastic body of water to fish in, by the way. Tempe Town Lake sticker on it. You got to pay them if you're an outsider. If you don't live in Tempe, you got to pay them $100. But it's from 2018. That's 4 years ago. I just didn't get out there because I was so heat sensitive after my brain surgery that I just didn't get out. But this is the year I'm getting back out. So I'm not like I've been fishing, 50 times a season. No. But I'm in. I'm back in. So we're gonna see how many times Captain Nuge gets out there, and we're gonna make that happen. So let's cover this here. Sit in kayak. I don't know. Let's start with this. Sit on top. Yeah, start with sit on top. They got nice, comfy chairs on them, and some of them the chairs are detachable, so you can just use it as a beach chair, kind of beach, and just have some lunch. Oh, fantastic! It's a fantastic life. You are living. You're LIVIN at that point, especially if you get one of those attachable umbrellas. Oh, now you know where I'm going with this. Oh, it's fantabulous. So the sit on top, you're gonna make that happen. Do you like to paddle with your arms, or do you like to paddle with your feet? That is something that you're going to have to. I caught my very first fish on a kayak on a stand-up, not stand-up, a sit on top and a row with your arms. So that a little more challenging because you're dealing with the oar, but the oar is attached to the boat with the bungee, so you're good. If you drop it, no big deal, because sometimes you just toss that thing to the side and reel in a fish. You got a fish, get the fish. And and another thing you should look into as well, the easier it is to stand on it. It's a weird sensation at first. It really is. It's a weird sensation standing on a kayak, whether you're in the ocean or in a lake. But I was out with Kevin Nakata, the Sea Samurai, and he actually he'd stand up and just go, all right, go to the bathroom, just stand up. I'm like, you're in the ocean, dude. You just get used to it. Your balance gets better, and you can fish that way. You can get up, and it feels like you're standing on the water. It is so cool. And to fish that way it's excellent. It's just too much fun. I'm still not that good at it. I don't know. Maybe it's a confidence thing. I think I have a pretty good balance, but I think it's a confidence thing. But okay, so here's the deal. You get yourself a kayak, and you start kayak fishing. My biggest suggestion to you, so we're going to talk about it next. My biggest suggestion to you is get 0 accessories and then start fishing and then find out what you need instead of being at the store and you buy the kayak and go, oh, yeah, I'm going to get that. I'm going to get that. I'm going to get one of these. I'm going to get one of those over here. I'm going to get one of those over here. Accessorizing and gearing up your kayak. It's coming up next right here on The Go Show. Stay tight. This is The Go Show. I'm celebrating all things outdoors in this beautiful outdoor playground of the state that we live in, and I switched up. I switched up over the break from coffee to my green drink. Yeah, I'm a portrait of health. Let me tell you this. Yeah, it's a smoothie. It's got the the fruit and all that nonsense in it. It's got that green powder with all the vitamins and the fiber and the. It tastes so good. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, it's not the best thing I've ever had, but I'll tell you once again, I am a portrait of health. That's right. I am a portrait of health. Yeah. You're welcome. Yeah. Celebrating me. I kid. We're talking about kayak fishing. We're talking about the intros, the basics of kayak fishing. And one of the best pieces of advice that I've ever received is from Dallas at Lower Gear in Tempe. And it's kind of like the kayak fishing guru of Arizona. He puts on an entire kayak fishing tournament series. And I've been to several of these events, and I got to tell you, you can be the worst angler in the world, like I am, or you can be the best angler in the world and still have fun at these tournaments. There's cash prizes. The buy-in is only, I think, is like $5 for big fish, $2 for little fish, or something like that, like the little side bets. Other than that, Dallas has stuff that he gives away, cash, all that stuff. And it all culminates at the Paddle Fest at Lake Havasu. So it is too much fun to get involved. But he gave me some great advice early on because I was at Lower Gear buying my kayaks. And I telling you, I was like Rodney Dangerfield. Do you remember Rodney Dangerfield in Caddyshack when he walks into the clubhouse for the first time? He's like, give me 3 of those, 4 of those, give me 6 of these. And I was like, give me it all. Like I had made the buying decision. That's a concept that McDonald's cashed in on years and years and years and years and years ago. When you already made a buying decision, would you like to supersize that for $1 more? Would you like a hot apple pie with that? Their profits went bananas when they just realized that when somebody makes a buying decision, all you need to do is just tip them and just touch them, and they're ready to buy more. So I was like that, and Dallas said, whoa, keep your spurs from jingling and jangling there. Just relax. Go out on these a couple times and find out what you really want. Because a lot of the sit-on-top fishing kayaks, I mean, they pretty much have what you need. Side of a tackle box and fishing poles. They basically have what you need to get a day on the lake done. So then you start to look at other people's kayaks. You go online, go on YouTube and say, yeah, I kind of like that. You hear the reasoning. Don't just say, ooh, I want one of those. See the reasoning and what they're doing with that accessory and how they're doing it. It's kind of, you'll learn that pretty quick. Here's what you're also going to learn very quickly if you get into kayak fishing. Into kayaking in general. Don't even have to fish. Just get out there and kayak. Transport. Transport is not easy. Like I'm telling you, if you bought a Subaru, it comes with a canoe or a kayak, and it comes right on top. It's pretty exciting. I kid that. We have a Subaru, but it's very yuppie, kayaky, canoey kind of vibe to it. But getting these things on top of a Subaru, a Camry, a truck, anything is kind of a pain sometimes. You're just gonna have to deal with it, and you have to figure it out. And it's clunky, it's cumbersome. I mean, I have a 14-foot Hobie kayak that is just tough to get in and out. It just is. And like I've said a million times in the last 9 years, fun is hard work. It does take some effort. They have rooftop kayak. Holy mackerel! Do I maybe go back to coffee from the green drink? Holy cow! The racks for the kayaks on top, and some of them, like the front will pull out to the side. And you can lift the kayak to the top and rest it on there and then pull the back end up and put it up there. It's really handy. It really, really is. Some people like to trailer them. If you just have, like I'll take the bag out of the jumping jack and put the kayaks on top of the jumping jack. That works as well. But also if you want to, and this is let me tell you a story about that. As a matter of fact, I took Captain Nuge, to one of the tournaments that Lower Gear put on. And we got to the campsite. We had the kayaks on top of the jumping jack. And I realized, I was like, wait a second, I got to take the kayaks off. And then I got to put the jumping jack up. And then in the morning, I'm going to put the kayaks back on. And Nuge is too young and too not strong enough to really help me with that. So we slept in the truck. Yeah, we really did. We kept him strapped to the back, and we slept in the truck. Parenting 101. I'm such a bad dad. Anyway, you can also get truck bed extenders. Those work pretty well, but of course you got to flag the back of the kayak with the red flag, and I think those work the best, actually. So I'm a big fan of those, especially if it's just yourself. One kayak, maybe two in the back of the truck bed. So transport is an issue. And then, all right, here we go. This is just the stuff you need. This is the stuff you have to have, period. This is the stuff that where then other than that, you can figure it out. Second is some sort of a trolley system. So I know on my Hobies, they have a cart that goes into the sculper holes, and I think I'm saying that right. And then you just kind of grab the front and you just pull it along. And it's still heavy. It's still tough, especially when you get down to sand or you go off-roading. They make specific tires or specific wheels for those trolleys that can go on sand. So they're fantastic. I didn't get those. So pulling the beasts along at probably loaded up a couple 100 pounds it's a challenge. It really is a challenge. But I commit this to you. Once you get on water and you're out there, pulling around, throwing a line in the water, you're happy as the day is long. You forget about all that stuff. And then even at the end of the day, it's not really bad getting everything back up in the truck. And yeah, you just get your rhythm down. You get set. So those are the two basic things that you would need getting kayak fishing, no matter what kind of kayak you get. Is you just need something to transport it with to get it to the lake and then get it from your truck or car to the actual water. So those are really the only things. And other than that, it's basic fishing gear. As if you were going out on a buddy's a boat for the first time, that's what you do. You bring your fishing poles, your tackle box, and away you roll. And this is where, to me, a fishing tackle backpack comes in pretty handy. You just strap to the back of the seat on the kayak, and then away you go. But what you're going to see a lot of are milk crates. I know this sounds funny, but you're going to see a lot of milk crates. Milk crates are like the kayak fishing. It's God's gift to kayak fishing, because I think if you buy them new at Cal Ranch or something, they're like $5, or everybody's got a milk crate laying around somewhere. You strap a fishing rod holder with some zip ties to the back of that thing, and it's darn near all you need, because you have all your gear behind your seat, and you got your fishing poles in order, and then you're golden. I mean, it's that easy. It's so much fun. So you can do that super, super cheap. So those three things right there, well, 4 if you put the rod holders on there, like a 4 bank of rod holders or 3 bank of rod holders like I have, you're set. You're ready to go. And then you go into your man cave, your garage, whatever it is, and then you start to look at your fishing gear. And you think about 3 things. What I absolutely 100% need, because you're dealing with a limited amount of space here. What do I 100% need? No, you don't need a cooler full of beer. You might want one, but you might not necessarily need it. Obviously, you need your poles, somewhere to store them. You need your tackle, and you need your accessories like your pliers and things like that. Scale and whatnot, ruler, whatever type of tournament you're in, if you're in a tournament. So those are the basic things that you look at, and you're like, okay, I need sunscreen. And shade is a good idea. Like, a lot of people have like those detachable umbrellas. But, man, when it gets breezy out there, you don't want anything dragging you around. And I'm being serious when I say this. So if you have like an umbrella that you're like, oh, it's going to be nice, I clip it to the back of my chair on the kayak, that thing's going to become a sail. So if you're going into a headwind, you're basically going to be neutral at that point. And if you got a tailwind, the thing's going to knock and hit you in the head. It's just not a great idea. Find yourself a fantastic fishing hat and invest in some sunscreen or some clothing that keeps the sun off you. That's really all I can do. Or one of the shirts that you can wet and put on, make you feel all cool and nice. Yeah, that's what I would do. So sitting there looking at your tackle, your rods, your reels, your tackle bag, box, whatever that can go in that milk crate, and then you're going to need something to hydrate with, somewhere to put some water and some liquids. I'm just going to say liquids, okay? All right. Yeah, okay. Yeah, some of you have probably fished with me before. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Some liquids, and then you're going to want something to eat, something to snack on. Corn nuts are the official snack of the Go Show. So I love corn nuts. My dentist hates corn nuts. I don't care. I drove my family nuts because I didn't go to the dentist. No lie. I didn't go to the dentist for maybe 11, 12 years. Didn't even go to the dentist once. I went and they're all sitting there like drooling on the glass waiting for the dentist to tell me I need like major surgery and yell at me about this. He's like, we have a little, maybe a little receded gum right there, but we can fix that. Everything else is fine. Oh, they were ticked. Yeah. And eating corn nuts like a champion. Yeah. Corn nuts like a champion. So those are the basics. That's how you get your kayak set just for the initial maiden voyage or voyages. But then when you're ready to accessorize, oh, we got you covered there too. Accessories galore. Coming up next, right here on The Go Show. Oh, yeah, that's right. I get to talk about gear. Gear is my favorite thing in the world to talk about. My name is Mike Russell. I'm the host of The Go Show, as you're listening to right now. I got a little verklempt in my Glebnik, like a little gespilkus in there. Sorry about that. So this is The Go Show. We celebrate all things outdoors in this beautiful outdoor playground of a state that we live in. You can find us on, hold on, I need coffee. Good gravy. Social media. Facebook.com/The Go Show with Mike Russell, and on Instagram at The Go Show with Mike Russell, and on YouTube, Go Show with Mike Russell. And I'm an unapologetic gear hound. I really am. I love gear. I think there is a world of cool stuff out there that's affordable and can enhance your life. Being serious. So Rob Hunter, the executive producer of this show, and my co-host on Russell and Hunter and the Brewmans, we hired some guy, some random dude. We found him on the street. His name's Paul. He does a lot of social media stuff. And he said, we need to get you on TikTok. And I'm like, okay. He said, we need to get you away from your cell phones to record everything. I'm like, uh-oh, that's going to get pricey. He's like, no. Here's what you need. You need these 4 things. I'm like, boom, boom, boom. I'm like, this is going to get expensive. I went online. I was like, oh, okay. I can basically take my family out to dinner for that price. Okay, good. We're in. So there's a lot of cool things, especially when it comes to kayak fishing, that you can grab and that you might need. Once again, I'm not going to tell you need anything because I want you to discover that for yourself. And I'm not talking about in a way that you're going to get lost out in the water and, oh, my gosh, I need GPS. No, okay, there's the obvious stuff that you're going to need. And we covered that in the last segment. You're obviously going to need some way to transport your kayaks to wherever you are fishing, all right? But then there's the add-ons, the accessories, the toys, so to speak. And, oh, yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun with this one. The first one is fishing rod holders. Like I mentioned in the last segment, there's a lot of these kayak companies that make fantastic kayaks that already have a place to put your rod and reel. But some don't have enough. And no, be honest with you. You look at the people that are really out there throwing bait and really catching fish on kayaks, they've got about 5 or 6 minimum rod and reel setup. I know. It sounds crazy. I don't want you to start with that. Start with a couple. You're going to be fine. If you start with a couple of them, you'll be just fine. Like I said, the milk crate, a 3-pack of rod holders on the milk crate, done. Easy breezy. And I'm talking zip ties here. Don't get excited. I mean, you can screw them and they're fine. Zip ties have worked for me for years, for 10 years, easy. So zip tie that thing right on there and you're fine. There are some that you can actually mount to your kayak. There are some that they go into the existing holes that are on the kayak. So they go in there and away you run. And I think that's a fantastic idea. So let's stick to that. All right. And by stick to that, I simply mean just do what you like. Do it. If you like the existing ones that are in there, great. If you like the ones that strap to the milk crate, great. So I have a combination of all 3 on my yaks. I have the custom ones that go into, did I just pluralize ones? Holy mackerel. I have a custom one that goes in, a couple of those, that go into the existing holes for the rods and reels, and I have the ones attached to ones again. Here we go. And I have those that are attached to the milk crate. You need leashes. You need paddle holders, rod leashes, like now. And I'm talking about probably, I have 4 or 5. And on the Hobies, there's this it's a little plate. It looks like something you would put a beer on if you're going to the bathroom at the bar. But I've drilled holes in it. and I have four leashes attached to it that have my measure, something to measure, have my scale, and they have my pliers, scissors, all that right there. So it's all there next to me. If I oopsie drop it, it's okay. If I oopsie drop it overboard, it's okay because they're attached to the leash. Now, if you have a actual paddle that you are dealing with, you have to attach that to your kayak somehow. Some people don't because they float and they're fine like that, but no. I'm not all about taking your hands and moving your kayak backwards or forwards or readjusting yourself to kind of do that whole side paddle thing, and you're going against the wind and you're like, come on, get to the paddle. Nope. No, not for me. If you want to go that route, this is what I would suggest that you do. If you hate having a leash attached to your paddle, this is what I suggest. Get a hand paddle that is attached to your boat. If you don't want the big paddle that's attached to your boat, have a hand paddle that's attached to your boat. I have one of the coolest hand paddles in the world, but I can move and maneuver myself in reverse because the Kobe kayaks I have right now don't have reverse. So that's kind of my reverse mode. Other than that, I can spin around pretty good, and I really haven't had a lot of problems with that. But you need to keep things tethered to your boat, period. Here's what I have done with my cell phone. I have a life-proof case, and that's a case that I take my current case, take the phone out of my regular everyday case, and I put it into a life-proof case. That case has a little ring attached to the back of it. I think I got it as a GoPro accessory, and it's super glued to the back of the thing so I can tether my phone to my to my kayak. And if it goes overboard, it's got the life-proof case, and my phone is water resistant. So understand that. Let's take a little quick side note here. Waterproof and water resistant are two very, 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 very different things. Okay, water resistant means you can splash it. It'd be all right. Submerge it, maybe. Really submerge it's dead. Waterproof means submerge the thing all day. It's all good. Two completely different things. And dry bags. Please understand what dry bags. Dry bags are cool to have on the boat. So it's always good because you want to put your keys and stuff in there and your wallet and stuff you want to keep dry. Learn how to use your dry bag first. And I mean, seal it right, dunk it in the pool, dunk it in the tub, make sure no bubbles come out. Here's how I know this. Went on a kayak trip with Rob Hunter out in the Pacific Ocean with the Sea Samurai. Hi. And he had his dry bag. I gave him a dry bag. Put your gear in here, seal it like this. Put it in your cargo hold. He got back. His bag was completely. It was a bag of water. Is really what it was. It had his phone, his wallet, his keys in there, everything. He just didn't seal it right, and I felt terrible because I probably should have run him through more. But I was like, okay, roll it like this and attach the buckles here, and you should be good. Yeah, learn how to use your dry bag first. But dry bags are good. So leashes, dry bags. And then what the heck did I start this whole thing with? Hold on a second. Oh, yeah, rod hold. These are the basics. These are basics for kayak fishing. And these are the things that you add over time, if you would like. Because most kayaks today have a spot to put your stuff. And if you want to take it to another level, you want a dry bag. You want something that can go in your milk crate in the back. And you want to keep your stuff dry. Because you never know. Especially you go out to Lake Pleasant. Ugh. Man, it gets choppy out there. It gets really choppy out there. Yeah, you can take water over anything. Man, you can take water over anything at any time because it does. It gets super, super choppy out there. So, you need something to keep yourself dry. Now, this is something that we're adding accessories to our fishing kayak, by the way. And thanks for being here. This is the Go Show, celebrating all things outdoors in this beautiful outdoor playground of the state that we live in. Drink holder. Maybe two. And no. I'm not encouraging drinking and boating. I'm encouraging hydration and boating. I am definitely encouraging coffee and boating. If I'm out there without my coffee, I will park this kayak and I will walk to the nearest Starbucks. I don't care. If I forget coffee, no, not for me. And hydration is so key. And come on, let's talk like grown-ups. If you are going to have a drink on the water, keep it light. I'm a craft beer guy. I drink IPAs. I drink stouts. I drink beefy beers. If I am out enjoying a drink on the water, I am going to have a very like a Huss light Arizona light lager, something like that. Something that isn't going to make me all loopy and weird, and it's going to be refreshing. But it's going to be one or two. It's not going to be, oh yeah, I brought a 12er with me. I got a 12 rack in the back. Yeah, no, please don't. But cup holders are absolutely fantastic and very, very, very necessary. I actually found one that is so amazing. Actually have it on my bike. This cup holder. What? Yeah. Yes, I have a cup holder on my bike. Who doesn't, for the love of grief? Because I got a beach cruiser. Anyway, we'll get into that at a different time. But the thing is, a cup holder, it actually has a key ring on it. So you put your keys, you attach your keys to it, and it has a slot for your cell phone. Fantastic. Like game changer. Kind of fantastic. And I have one, I ordered one for the kayak. The problem was it didn't fit around my my H rails on the Hobie. So I just got to kind of, I don't know. I got to rig it a certain way. But I'm going to. Here's what we're doing. We're talking about cool accessories for your kayaks. We're starting with the basic stuff, and we're going to get into the more advanced stuff next and talk about accessories and fun stuff and gear and some really, really maybe entertaining stories for you about me being totally stupid. Oh, my goodness. Wait till you hear about my fish finder. Yeah, more accessories for your kayak fishing adventure. It's coming up next right here on The Go Show. Stay tight. Gear. I love gear. We get to talk about gear. This is The Go Show, celebrating all things outdoors in this beautiful outdoor playground of the state that we live in. I am your host, Mike Russell. Thank you so much for being here. I do love gearing things up. I got to tell you that one of the best, most impactful memes, I love memes. I love you, Internet. I know people think Internet is Satan's lair, but I have to tell you, the Internet is so funny. Sometimes they just win everything. Memes are hilarious. The best I've heard. My biggest fear of dying is that my wife will sell my outdoor gear for what I told her I paid for it. Yeah. Telling you. It's the truth. This is the God's honest truth. Listen, ladies, men, yes, anyone. Listen, your significant other. What they told you they paid for something, they didn't. Maybe double it. Oh, it was on sale. No, it was for sale, but it was not on sale. Well, technically it was on sale because it was for sale. So it was on sale. Yeah, say it all the time. Couldn't pass up this deal. Couldn't pass up this deal means I saw it and I wanted it and I bought it. It was kind of impulsive and I bought it. So how this relates to basically gearing up your kayak is it's easy, really easy to go overboard. It's like black rifle disease. If you don't know what black rifle disease is, you probably will eventually. If you do know what black rifle disease is, then you know you're smiling right now because you know exactly what I mean. Black rifle disease is when you buy your first AR-15 and then you start accessorizing this bad boy like it's something from Barbie. You just keep, there's so many accessories. Like, I am going to give this. I don't even know. It doesn't even look like the rifle I bought about a month later. So you understand that. It's easy to go a little overboard. I'm like, I'm not on SEAL Team 6. I probably don't need all this gear, but I have it on my AR. And I am not a tournament pro angler, so I probably don't need a lot of the gear that's on my yak. But most of the gear that's on my yak, to be honest, to be fair, is stuff that I really do enjoy having. It enhances the experience, and I love that. So let's jump to the first one. That is an actual fish finder. Yeah, just like the ones they have on the on all the boats. And Brian Sefji, who I haven't spoken to in way too long. So Brian, if you're listening to, love you, man. Love to catch up with you. Brian Sefji is one of the Jedi of the fishing world and the kayak fishing world. And he has a fish finder screen that is bigger than all three screens that I'm looking at in my home studio right now. The man, I'm pretty sure it gets most cable channels. That guy. Please don't go that. You don't have to until you get into tournaments like Brian, until you're sponsored by certain companies. Don't do that. But get a fish finder. I think it has completely enhanced the entire experience. I mean, there's very inexpensive fish finders. There really are. There's the thing called the bobber. It's like $100. It's interesting. I've seen it several times. It was Facebook stalking me for a while. And no, I stuck with the Lowrance the inexpensive Lowrance. It was a couple $100. I didn't get that. I didn't go absolutely crazy. You just want to know, essentially, especially if you're kayaking, what your depth is. And fishing, too. You have to understand. But here's the deal. Learn how to use it. And the cool thing is you want your kids to help you with that. Because we talked about that. Taking the kids outdoors and taking them away from technology is painful for them. So if you take them outdoors and they're the experts in your electronics, like a fish finder, save your whole world. You change your world. Now, I did promise you an embarrassing, stupid story. Here we go. So I had a night tournament with lower gear in Tempe. I had a night tournament. And so I had my Lowrance on night mode. And it was fantastic. It was amazing. I loved it. I was playing with it most of the night. It was fabulous. I pulled my boat out of the water, turned the Lowrance off, got everything loaded up in the truck, went about my merry way, came home, got everything cleaned up. Next tournament was a day tournament. Load up the batteries, get everything ready to go, get everything off the boat off of the truck, and get it to the water, turn on my Lowrance. Still on night mode. So I cannot see, for the life of me, I can't see the screen. I can't get it off of night mode. Because I'm just pushing buttons and I don't know what I'm doing because the screen is so light in night mode, I can't see it in the daytime. I caught 2 fish that day, and it was while I was trolling to the next spot. I had no idea where I was. Talking about gearing up, I told you it was embarrassing, right? Come on. Talking about gearing up your kayak. We're talking about the next level gear. If you get a trolling motor for your kayak, let me tell you something. Just get a boat. I'm being serious. I'm going to be that guy. If you have a trolling motor, I mean, I'm cheating enough as it is with a Hobie Mirage Drive and just pedaling my way through it. And that's a game changer. But at least I'm human powered propelling myself through the water. I mean, come on. Have some respect. Let's talk about coolers. And, of course, our wonderful partners at Canyon Coolers, they make some amazing, amazing coolers for your yak. They really do. They're not actually made for your yak. They just fit your yak. So there's a hard cooler, which is fantastic. There's all different sizes of coolers. And if you want to get crazy, I've seen a lot of people stand on their cooler, kind of get a better view of what's going on, or a different view. I love being down deep on the water. But the Canyon Coolers I don't care if it's 150 degrees outside. They're going to keep your stuff cold. And I want to give you a pro tip. I'm sure Jason will back me on this from Canyon Coolers. And by the way, if you do go to canyoncoolers.com and you use the code GOSHOW, 15% off. Covers tax and then some. What? Yeah, some good stuff. So check them out. I don't use ice anymore. And I know they sell those blue things that you keep in the freezer and you maybe use it to keep your kids' lunches cold and all that. Those are okay. Let's just freeze a bunch of water bottles. So nothing gets wet. You have water that is accessible to you. I mean, 100 degrees, you pull it out of the cooler, it's frozen. It's not going to be frozen very long. And it's keeping all your gear cold. And if, the worst happens, you have drinkable water at all times. If you get stuck somewhere, got to stay overnight, whatever it is, you have water. I love that idea, and it's my idea, so I call it genius. I really do. It's not really genius. It isn't. Accessorizing your kayak, obviously, the cooler is a good thing. We're saying the trolling motors are a no-no. Anchors and drift socks. These things are pretty cool, and it's something I think you should look into. An anchor and anchor trolley is something I'm adding to the yaks this summer. Once again, we're seeing how many times Captain Nugent and I get out. But I am going to add an anchor because you are at, and understand this, on a boat or a kayak, and a kayak is so much worse, you're at the mercy of the breeze. Forget wind. You're at the mercy of the breeze. So if you just have a slight breeze, you're drifting wherever that thing goes. You're like, paddling into the wind, turning your yak, and then kind of drifting down the coast and doing that. And just casting to the shoreline if that's how you're going to fish. That there's actual socks that can slow you down. Kind of like little, they're underwater and they slow your propulsion. They slow the what is it? What is it called? The results of no, that's not the word I'm looking for. What's the word I'm looking for? Effects. There we go. The effects of holy mackerel coffee time. The effects are the impact on the wind. So the socks are great. Anchors, obviously, self-explanatory. They're going to keep you, hopefully, and for the most part, in one place. So I think that is insanely valuable, especially if you are at, and I keep bringing up Lake Pleasant because I'm a West Side guy, and I know the wind that happens out there. It's like Las Vegas style wind. It's Sahara style wind. It just doesn't stop. So the anchors are always the good deal. Always, always a good deal. And once again, trolling motor, stay away from them. We're not going to. If I see you out there in a yak with a trolling motor, I'm just going to approach you. I'm probably going to hand you a drink. And we're going to talk it out like men. We're going to talk it out like men. The bottom line of the entire gear topic for kayak fishing is that and I hate this term because it's kind of a blank you kind of term, but I mean, the whole you do you concept, be you. Find what you like. Don't have things because other people have things. Ask people why they have those things, and it might not be for you. Don't see it and buy it. Try it, then buy it. Or research it, then buy it. If you get fired up about an accessory, look into it. Go onto the fishing groups on Facebook and ask the question, does anyone have this? Does anyone have a Lowrance? Has anyone used a trolling? Please do not ask that question on the online forums. Has anyone used this type of bait, this type of rod holder, this type of anything? And they will answer the questions. That's where social media is a really, really cool thing. But I encourage you, give kayak fishing a try. You're going to enjoy it. It's going to save you a lot of money over buying a boat because, once again, boat stands for break out another 1,000. And just accessorize accordingly. Start on a budget. Look for used. And even on the accessories, look for used. Go online and say, I need rod holders. There's probably people selling rod holders for like $5. So do that. Don't be afraid, though, to add things to your kayak. Like you might have to drill a hole here and there. I'm telling you, it gets a little scary, but YouTube. All right. Thanks for hanging out with us. Really appreciate you. Really appreciate you being here. We'll be back next week with more outdoor awesomeness right here on The Go Show. Have a great week, everyone.